What if I told you that one of the greatest trading empires of the ancient world simply vanished? Without a war, without a known catastrophe, and without a clear explanation, the Nabataeans, master architects of the desert, builders of the majestic city of Petra, once controlled a vast kingdom that stretched across what is now Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Syria. Their wealth rivaled empires, their cities were carved into cliffs, and their secrets were buried deep within sandstone valleys. But by the 2nd century AD, they were gone. Who were these mysterious people? And how could such a powerful civilization disappear so silently from the pages of history? Let's explore the mystery of the Nabataean disappearance. The story begins over 2,000 years ago, in the heart of the Arabian desert. The Nabataeans were not originally city dwellers. They were nomadic Arab tribes who began settling and prospering through control of the lucrative incense and spice trade routes. Frankincense, myrrh, and other rare goods flowed from southern Arabia and passed through Nabataean hands before reaching Egypt, Greece, and Rome. But what set the Nabataeans apart was not just their wealth, it was their ingenuity. In a region plagued by arid landscapes and scorching heat, they created a remarkable water management system. They carved channels into rock, built hidden cisterns, and developed a way to capture and store rainwater that allowed them to thrive where others perished. And at the center of their empire stood Petra, rose-red city, half as old as time. Hidden behind narrow canyon walls, Petra was a fortress, a temple, a trading hub, and a symbol of Nabataean brilliance. Visitors to Petra were awestruck by its massive tombs, elaborate facades, and rock-cut temples, all seemingly defying the desert itself. Greek and Roman travelers wrote in amazement about the Nabataeans. They were said to live without kings at times, making decisions as a collective. They were wealthy, elusive, and fiercely independent. By the 1st century BCE, the Nabataean kingdom reached its peak. King Aretas IV reigned over an empire that stretched from Damascus in the north to the Red Sea in the south. Their influence was undeniable. Their script even evolved into what would later become Arabic. But soon, their light began to fade. In 106 AD, the Roman Empire annexed the Nabataean kingdom under Emperor Trajan. The reasons for this takeover remain vague. Was it diplomatic, or was it forced? The records are scarce. What we do know is that the Nabataean capital Petra was absorbed into the Roman province of Arabia Petraea. You might expect resistance, you might expect bloodshed, but none of that is documented. In fact, the transition appears strangely peaceful. There were no major battles, no accounts of rebellion. It's as if the Nabataeans quietly stepped aside. But even after annexation, something odd happened. The Nabataeans didn't just lose power, they seemed to vanish. Within a few generations, their unique language, once inscribed on monuments and tombs, ceased to be used. Their gods were replaced, their cities were abandoned, their culture was absorbed, overwritten, or simply forgotten. Why? Some scholars suggest Roman rule marginalized the Nabataean elite, dissolving their political structure. Others believe that as maritime trade routes grew in importance, the desert trade networks the Nabataeans controlled became less valuable. Their economic base may have collapsed, leading to a slow decline rather than a dramatic fall. There's also the mystery of cultural assimilation. Under Roman influence, Nabataeans began adopting Greco-Roman customs, clothing, architecture, and even religion. Temples were built in Roman styles, names were Latinized, perhaps they didn't disappear, they simply faded into the empire. But this raises another question. How could an entire civilization with its own language, religion, and identity become so completely absorbed that we know almost nothing about their inner lives today? The Nabataeans left behind no literature, no royal chronicles, no detailed history of their reigns. What survives are inscriptions, tombs, and ruins, but few clues about their beliefs, social order, or even daily life. Unlike Egyptians, Mesopotamians, or Romans, the Nabataeans didn't preserve their history in scrolls or stone records. It's almost as if they chose to let their legacy be carved only in rock, beautiful, yet silent. Today, Petra stands as a haunting reminder of their glory. A ghost city, empty for centuries, rediscovered by Western explorers in the 19th century, buried under layers of sand and myth. We still don't know why the Nabataeans never resisted the Romans. We don't know why they didn't preserve their culture more distinctly. And we may never know what truly happened after 106 AD. Perhaps the Nabataeans, ever the merchants and survivalists, adapted so well that they disappeared by design, melting into the empires around them rather than facing destruction, or maybe like the desert itself, they simply moved on, leaving behind only traces in stone. So, the question remains, did the Nabataeans vanish, or did they evolve so completely that history forgot their name? In a world that remembers conquerors and warriors, the Nabataeans leave us with a different kind of legacy, one written in silence, waiting for the sands to shift and reveal more. Until then, the disappearance of the Nabataean civilization remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. This is Timescope. Thanks for watching, where history meets the unexplained.